That's all that matters, is that
Makes
we
sense.
find our way back. We find out. I interviewed a lady who said she was given a mission when she came back from her near-death experience, and the mission was to just love. That's it, because nothing else mattered. It was just
That's
to
all there
love.
is.
Exactly.
The
That's
Beatles
all
said
there
it.
is. That's right. That's right. And when you think about it that way, and you really dig deep into it, there is nothing else in this world that truly matters. Money doesn't matter. All this social media and technology and all of that is a negative. It's not love. It's not the positive. What do you think of that?
Love is all there is.
Love is all there
We
is.
don't
Yeah.
realize that. But
Yeah.
look around you. The world right now
Mm.
is in great difficulty, but it's changing. Look at the good. Don't focus on the horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the people that are supporting so many people in pain and difficulty. Their hearts are going out. People think that's no big deal, but that is who we are. We are energy, and we can create change with our thoughts, with our attitudes, how we are in the world. There's so many people. They're reaching out to all of those in difficulty right now. It's worldwide, and that eventually will change. We may, or I may not live to see the change, but it is coming. It's been predicted both in ancient cultures
Yep.
and in scriptures around the world
Mm-hmm.
that there's going to be a major change, and it's all connected with the entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
Our energy is changing, and
Yeah.
it's positive.
In Simuology, we call it a reset. So we call it like the
Well,
Great Reset, especially, which is coming.
yeah, I didn't want to say that because it's got political
It does.
overtones.
It does. And they
But
did that
I
on.
hear
They did that for
you, and I agree with
yes.
you.
Yes. They did that for a reason. That was on purpose.
I know.
Because they know that the change is coming. And so they already went ahead and called it the Great Reset and made it into a financial change of the
Yes.
economic planet kind of a thing. But that's not what it really is. It is something more. It is something bigger. It is something more valuable than money. And it's just, that's where we're heading. And we've actually had resets before.
Yes.
We can look at ancient scriptures. We can look at ancient texts. We can look at the past. We can see what they've covered up in history, because they've covered up a lot of things. They do not want to tell the public everything. We have to look at it like a detective. We have to figure out and take these pieces of the puzzle that we have, and we have to put them together, and we have to figure out this great mystery, because that's why we're here. We're here to understand, to learn, to grow, and to love. And that's it. And that's it. And it's all going to be revealed. I can tell you right now. And anybody who's listening or watching, just bear in mind, all of this will be revealed. I don't know if we'll be here to see it, but it will be one day revealed for sure.
I think the day is not going to be that far away. You will be surprised.
I think that's why they made the economic reset so soon, because they know as well. They already, and I've mentioned this before on other shows, but the billionaires of the world, they're not billionaires because they're stupid, okay? They're billionaires because they know something, because they figured out certain things, and they've had a way of growing their wealth. Well, figuring that out is not an easy task to do. Otherwise, we'd all be billionaires. But here's the secret to all of this, is that they figured out something that's going to happen, and they put all their research, all their scientists, all their smartest minds to it, and they figured out, and they know what's coming. They're not stupid. Why do you think they're going to space? Why do you think they're doing all this? That they think there's a way around, like, to get away from it, whatever's coming. They're afraid of it. They fear it. But the truth is, we've all been through this before. We've all been through it before. And this is a natural progression, and it's going to happen no matter what.
Yes. But that's okay, because it'll change and things will be amazing. And even if you aren't here for it, you'll be back.
Exactly. So let's talk about that for just a little bit. Reincarnation. I'm sure that that's in your book as well.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Not in that way. I don't talk about bodies coming back.
Okay.
But we are energy. We are never destroyed. Mm-hmm. We only change form.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are your thoughts on people who have come back, though, who have, over the years, maybe they died in the 20s and the 30s, and they've come back in the 80s and 90s, and they've reincarnated into somebody new, and they remember those lives?
Well, when I was a child, my father talked to me about Bridie Murphy, and I read that book, mm-hmm. and it was amazing. I don't know if you know about Bridie Murphy. It's a book about a woman who believed that she had been born at another time and came back.
Okay.
And through research, they found they could actually verify her past life. And I don't know who wrote the book because it's been many years. But if you look at Bridie Murphy, you probably find it.
Okay.
And it was one of the foremost books at the time about reincarnation. I feel that reincarnation is about who you were in another life, but it's about the energy and the energy you carried, not somebody was a slave or a queen or somebody, mm-hmm. But it's the energy you carry back and you reincarnate into a different body, but not as the same person. And whatever you were in another time doesn't really hold water. I mean, people look at it and they look at reincarnation and say, oh, I was King so-and-so or whatever. But it isn't that way. It's just the energy comes back when it's time you get born into another body. It's the focus is on the energy, not on the physical body of the person. And that's only my opinion. I haven't looked at this in science ways or anything.
Sure. Now, what about the fact of, I know people talk about past lives, but what about multiple lives within the same body, meaning multiple dimensions, different things that we've done in this life? You have the opportunity sometimes to, when you're at a crossroads, you can make one decision or the other. Each one is going to drastically affect your life. But the truth is that in both situations, you've made both of those decisions. You've done both things. It's when you choose one that's your journey that you're deciding to do now, but you've already done the other one as well too. And I know that looking at quantum mechanics, when we look at certain things in science, we're starting to prove that this is the case, that these realities exist among the same plane. Does that make sense?
Yes. I've non-scientifically studied quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and I would come to that same conclusion, but I can't say it from a scientific base. I'm not a scientist. I just ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm. Now, in your opinion, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that is something that we go through, and that because a lot of times, and I've talked to people who they feel like they've lived other lives. They even have dreams of it. They even have dreams where they're the same person now, but they're living in a different house. They're married to a different person. They have different kids. They have this whole different life, and they can't explain it. And they've had so many things happen to them in that regard that they feel as though somewhere in a parallel dimension they're also living and they're connecting to that energy.
There are a lot of people who believe that. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, reality or not, mm-hmm. but there's no reason why it couldn't be if you understand anything at all about quantum mechanics, that you can be in more than one place at a time.
You sure can.
When I leave my body, I know I'm not in my body. Mm-hmm. But if someone were to watch me when I'm in that mode, they would think that I'm physically right here doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But somehow I am over the roof and I can see the farm on the other side. And I can see the cows moving around. But yet I'm here in the driveway doing what I'm doing. I don't know how to explain that, but I've had that experience. And I explain it in the book on my own process. For me, when I have that experience, is because I've learned that there's certain rhythms that like release my energy. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I learned a long time ago that a rhythm moves me. And when I look at Native American dancing and movement, I see the rhythm. I see that rhythm, and that's what lets them go, to let the shamans go do their thing. Mm-hmm. It's the rhythm for them, and it is for me. I don't know what it is for everybody, but that works for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of ancient cultures who actually have that. And, speaking of, that's out-of-body experiences happen in a lot of ancient cultures. They've all experienced it. I think that's the key thing to draw that science, what I have a tough time with science on, and trust me, I agree with science on certain things. Science is good for calculating. It's good for measuring. It's good for questioning things. But when you get to a certain point, it stops, and it doesn't let you go any further. And that's the problem. So when we have something like an out-of-body experience, science won't look at the history of things and say, well, the ancient, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Native Americans, the Hindus, all of these ancient cultures that were separated by thousands and thousands of miles and had no contact with each other, all still talked about leaving their body and visiting other realms of existence. Being a part of this existence, right, like an out-of-body experience, but also traveling to a different area, something different, a different reality. Mm-hmm. And they all talk about the same thing. Everybody shares a same commonality. They also share the commonality of that we're all one unified consciousness. That is one of the big things. And even though it's hard for bigger religions, especially the Christian religion, and I'm not putting anybody down on Christian religion. It's a great religion.
I understand.
Very positive, but they put down the notion of something like this, but yet they still say that everybody is one with God. So God knows everything about you because he's one with you, just like he's one with everybody else. That's saying the same exact thing, that we're a unified consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I always have said. We are energy, and we connect with each other, whether it's a tree or an animal. Look, I have a cat who knows when my sugar is low and will wake me up at 3 a.m. When I'm crashing by licking my forehead. How does she know that?
Yeah.
She's not been trained.
Right.
She picks up a smell or a vibration or something. Mm-hmm. But a number of years ago, there was an experiment at, rats. I forgot the name of the college. It's, I believe, in the Carolinas, and it's out of my brain right now, but they took electrodes and put it on a tree. A couple of greenhouses away, they had shrimps. When the shrimps are put in the boiling water, the tree 2 greenhouses away with electrodes responded to the death of those shrimps. Really? Duke University, that's who. And I couldn't find the actual experiment, again, to put it in the book. I did talk about it, but I couldn't name the specifics because I couldn't find it anymore. But it was there. And it shows that everything is connected. The tree knows when something is killed near it. And its energy changes. It lets the electronic equipment know that it knew.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because there is also a connection with plants to where you can talk negatively to a plant and it will not grow, but you could talk positively to it and it will flourish.
Well, when I teach, and I've taught a lot of different students over the years, but the first thing in my class about energy is to have them grow beans in a glass. Now, when I was in grade school, we did that as part of the classroom. But I teach my students, and they have 2 glasses, one glass of beans is talked to every day, has good music, make sure they have all the things they need, but talking to them, I love you, grow, here's some nice music. The other bean was left on the windowsill. It was watered and fed, but left alone. I wanted them to see the difference in how the plants responded.
Mm-hmm.
And they were shocked at the plant they paid attention to. They fed it the same. They had the same light and all that. But one was nurtured and tried to feel love to them, with their hands around the glass.
Right.
The other plant was just left alone. The difference in the plants are remarkable.
Hmm.
So it helps show people that everything is connected. It's not just your breath coming on the plant making it grow better. It's right. The vibes.
Right. And I think that the other thing too to take away from this is the frequency. I talked a little bit at the beginning about, in my opinion and the belief that I have is that this reality is a lower frequency. It's a lower vibration. It's very difficult to be a part of. And in fact, before we come to this, it's always challenging for us to come into it because we come from a higher frequency. But inside this reality, we have the ability to change frequencies, to change vibration.
Yep.
And that is a key thing that science also ignores. Religion also ignores it. But it's been proven time and time again. And they've shown how if you change the frequency that's being directed towards water, you will change the molecules within the water. Yeah, you've seen that?
What are you, psychic now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, the other thing I do is there is a video out about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's several years old. And honestly, right now, I don't remember the name of it. It's sitting over there in the living room, but I show that to my students too. And it's about the different vibrations, cynetics. I don't remember. But it shows the different frequencies and the patterns that it makes in water, but also on sand. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the ancient mandalas, that is what they're portraying, the vibration of the energy of what they were using.
Mm-hmm.
And they made pictures of it to hope that in future generations, people like us would figure out what they were talking about. But it's like we put musical notes on lines. 1,000 years ago, nobody's going to know what that is.
Right.
But they will try to reinterpret. And every single note is a different level of vibration. It's teaching people how to use that. And that's what mandalas were at the time as well. It's in the book.
Yeah. And what's actually interesting that you bring this up, but the fact that these ancient cultures were trying to say, they're trying to show us and depict it to us so that way we understand in the future lends me to believe that we've been through these resets before and they're trying to keep it consistent. It's almost like once we reset, it's like things change and maybe some of that past will be forgotten. And so they try to keep it forever. So that way we don't lose it. So that way when we come back in, we don't lose it.
And the research I've done proves that.
Well, so tell me a little bit more about your book. What we're going to do is I'm going to post a link down below and people can go get your book. It's on Amazon, right?
I can give you the link for my website. Yes, it's on Amazon. It's on all the big booksellers.
Okay.
But if they want to go to my website and get it, they can do that too.
Okay. Yeah, let's have them do that. We'll post the link down below in this video. And if they're listening to this and they're not at the video, you can go up to YouTube and just click on the link that's down below in the description and you'll be able to pick up the book. So
do you want me to give it to you now?
Sure, that's fine. You can actually, if you want to just give it now and then people can go to it.
Okay.
So Journey of the Star Children Through Time is the book.
Yes, Journey of the Star Children Through Time. Mm-hmm. It's not a children's book, but my husband and I met when we were 10 and discovered that we had these abilities. And then we were totally separated for almost 50 years before we got back together. So it is a love story. but it also talks about our development, how we learned we had gifts, some of the stuff we went through when people told us we were evil and going to hell, and some of the adventures we've had, and what it feels like to leave your body.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a fascinating book, and anybody who's listening to this conversation who's been fascinated by the topics that we've talked about should go get Sonja's book, because this is what you talk about. You talk about these things. You kind of break it down for people.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the link again. www.starchildrenjourney.com.
Okay.
And that will take you to my new website that I am trying to learn how to use.
Yeah, technology is always fun, isn't it?
Well, especially when you thought you were hot stuff 30 years ago when you learned to use a fax machine. And you really haven't progressed since then. Yeah. Now it's here, and I've got to do it, and I'm struggling.
It's funny. A lot of people don't know about fax machines anymore because we just don't use them.
But I know how to run one.
But it's up to us to try to help to change that, to make that better for everybody. And that's what's very important.
So the more we learn and the more we understand how far out we extend and how we really impact everything in life, as we learn that, things will change.
Absolutely. That's well said. I want to thank you for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. We talk about a lot of crazy stuff here. So if you want to hear more, just like and subscribe to the channel. It'd really help us out a lot. And plus, if you have a crazy story, whether it be an alien abduction, near-death experience, or something of the paranormal, or a glitch in the matrix, please let us know. Share it in the comments. We'd love to have you on the show.